People pretend, people pretend that what they believe in is true, even though they know that it is not. Even though they know that they are self-delusional, that they are living on a lie, they pretend that this lie is true. They believe that what they believe in is true, even though they know that what they believe in is a lie, but they pretend that the lie is true. So they are very clever to pretend, they pretend that they're not living in a bubble. They pretend that they're not believing in something that only their brain tells them. They pretend that their mind is reliable. But of course they know that it's not. They know that they are the victim of a mental circus that they cannot control. But that mental circus is all that is available to them, so they take it seriously. And they choose which part of this mental circus to believe in. They choose which parts that they think, oh, this is true, this is reliable, this is the best part, this is the best part of the steak, this is the best part of the salad, the best part of the cake, But it's just a part of the illusion. It's just a part of the self-delusional imagination. But they believe it's true, even though they know that it's not. This is the way that people usually protect themselves when they know that they are quite helpless in their own self-delusional state. And that's one thing. Another thing is actually that it's a part of the human program, you could say. It's a part of the biochemical DNA makeup of our neurocircuitry system, you could say. Because, as I've said a million times before, the brain is a machine for addiction. We are addicted, the brain is a machine for addiction. Everything in our life is in one way or another related to that which is addiction. And addiction is addiction to biochemicals in the brain, mostly. So we get stuck in behavior and patterns, repetitive patterns, that are an expression of the brain's way of being an addict of certain biochemicals. It's just the way it is. Everyone has it. It's the way that the brain works, This is why it takes a long time to break addictions, because we have to understand them fully, and we have to understand that it's actually an addiction of the brain. The addiction is in the brain itself. It's not to the substance. Although in many cases it's that too. It's addiction to sugar or to heroin or to alcohol or to whatever. But the main thing is that it's an addiction to that which produces a biochemical that the brain wants to be produced. So, and this is a very subtle process as well, so we cannot always see this behavior pattern of the brain, because it goes on by itself. It follows its own engine, so to speak. It just goes by itself. This is also, in some sense, of course, related to the fact that we pretend. We pretend that this is true and that is true, and we pretend that the things that we perceive and imagine and see as important aspects of reality, we pretend that these aspects, these mental realities, are more than just mental realities. That they are relevant, that they are real, that they represent reality, they represent something true. But they just represent the way that the brain works. They just represent the way that the brain works, because it's all produced by the brain. But we pretend that we pretend that it's real, we pretend that it's manifestations of something that truly belongs to reality, same as with God. I've been talking many times about God, that God is the inner substance of your inner heart. God is the marriage, so to speak, of the ultimate absolute, which is primary space, the ultimate nothingness, and you could say that which isn't, in a way, with your own heart, with the sensation of your own heart. God is something very, very intimate to the heart. I believe that, and I think it's very beautiful and true, and I say it, of course, because it's an experiential reality that I want to expose to the world. I want that this experiential reality shall become a part of human life. But as we all know, we are all living in our own self-delusion. We are living in the machine that is producing reality. So we don't know. You could even say that God is that which doesn't exist. And that's why God exists, because that which doesn't exist exists absolutely. You know, you could even say that. Or you could say that God is that which we imagine God to be. So what? You know, it doesn't change reality. Reality is still what it is, and we are still stuck in our human program. We are still stuck in the mental circus that is produced to us and for us by the brain in which we live. So this is a tricky thing, it's a tricky situation. But the thing that you should know if you want to get sober, so to speak, if you want to be clear in your brain and clear in your head, and if you want to have a certain degree of being able to defend yourself against other people and against how they manipulate you and against how they abuse you in many times, you should know that people pretend, that we are pretenders. You know, we are pretending machines. You know, we pretend that things are true. We pretend that certain things are true that are not true at all. They're just a part of our self-delusional experience and imagination. So if you really want to have a certain kind of defense against the way that people want to manipulate you in some situations, and the way that you yourself manipulate your own existence, and in the way that you yourself pretend that things that are not true, when you pretend that they are true, you know. If you want to have a certain degree of sobriety in this process, you should know about this, that this process of pretending is going on. It's a part of the brain's way of being an addict, you could say. It's a part of the biochemical circus. So whatever you believe to be true, 99% sure it is not true at all. Even though you're a scientist at the at the deepest levels of the most secret university in the world, even though you're the most clear-headed scientist inside a laboratory of neuroscience, you will still be a fool. You will still be fooled by your own foolishness. You will still be fooled by the way that your own brain is acting out in its biochemical addictions, and you will also still be fooled by the way that you pretend that things are true which are not. This is also a part of human education. You know, when we grow up, it's a little bit early to educate people about this when they are young, but when they grow up, it's time to educate them about this, because it's really very true. We are living on thin ice, you know, because the illusions that we believe to be true, they are usually not. And the self-delusional part of reality is something that is actually just a part of the brain. It's just here. And of course we pretend that things are true Also because we can use this as a way to manipulate other people's perceptions, because we want people to like us. We want to be seen in a light that is beneficial to ourselves. Sometimes we try to control how other people perceive us. Sometimes we try to control how other people shall feel, because if they feel the right biochemicals when they are with us, they will like us. And we need that because we have our childhood issues, and we have a brain that tells us that we need safety, emotional and psychological safety. So we need to feel good. We want to feel good, and in order to feel good, we want to be loved, and to be loved is many times to be duped by the biochemical substances that is the biochemical part of that which it is to have this particular experience. So it's a lot of pretense, it's a lot of self-manipulation, it's a lot of imagination, it's a lot of things that we imagine to be true and imagine to be real that actually are not. It's just a way of surviving, it's our survival mechanisms at play. It's the way that we try to live with the brain that is producing a reality that we actually cannot completely trust, because the reality that is produced by the brain is a mirage in many ways, to a certain degree, at least. So this self-delusional part of our own mental existence is a very mature thing to recognize and to accept and to see, so that we achieve more sobriety when it comes to living in our own mental states. And that can help us to navigate through life and to not rely on manipulation, self-manipulation or manipulation of others through the self-delusional things that we believe in, that we take to be true. If they are true or not, we don't know. We don't know if truth is true or not. We don't know if reality is real or not. But 99.9% sure it is not. It's just something that we imagine to be true simply because of the way that the brain works, because of the way that the human program works. And so that's how the show goes on. This is all that jazz, This is all that jazz. This is how the show goes on. So, when we have a little bit of insight into this, we can accept facts and parts of life that make us see more clearly through the illusions and the self-delusional parts of our own mental existence. Thank you.